Welcome back to our channel. My name is Hassal. Today's story is about a young woman from Texas named Sophia Carter. Sophia was only 20 years old when she made a decision that shocked everyone around her. She wanted to become a military officer and serve her country. Most people in her town laughed when they heard about her dream. They looked at her small frame and quiet personality and said things like, "She'll never survive military training," and "This isn't a job for someone like her." Every time she walked through town, she could hear people whispering behind her back. Some even laughed directly in front of her. But Sophia never argued. She never complained. Instead, she silently promised herself that one day she would prove every single one of them wrong. What nobody knew was that Sophia had been preparing for this moment her entire life. Every morning before sunrise, she ran for miles. Every night she studied leadership, history, and military strategy. While others were sleeping, Sophia was working. And although the world saw an ordinary girl, deep inside her was the heart of a future leader. Little did everyone know that this young woman would soon face challenges that would test her courage in ways nobody could imagine. A few months later, Sophia arrived at military training. The first day was far worse than she expected. The instructors were strict. The training was brutal. Many recruits wanted to quit within the first week. Every day began before sunrise and ended late at night. Sophia's muscles hurt constantly. Her hands were covered in blisters. Some recruits mocked her and said she wouldn't last a month. One evening, after an exhausting exercise, Sophia sat alone outside her barracks. For the first time, she questioned herself. Maybe the people back home were right. Maybe she wasn't strong enough. But then she remembered her father. Before he passed away, he always told her one thing. Strength isn't about never falling down. It's about standing up one more time than everyone else. Those words echoed in her mind. The next morning, Sophia got up before everyone else and trained even harder. Slowly, things began to change. The same people who laughed at her started noticing her determination. And for the first time, some of them began respecting her. 6 months later, Sophia faced her biggest challenge yet. Her unit was assigned a difficult leadership exercise. The recruits were divided into teams. Sophia was unexpectedly chosen as team leader. Some recruits immediately complained. They didn't believe a young woman could lead them. Others openly questioned her decisions. The pressure was enormous. Sophia knew that if she failed, everyone would use it as proof that she never belonged there. During the exercise, the team became lost and confused. Arguments broke out. People stopped listening. Everything seemed to be falling apart. But instead of panicking, Sophia stayed calm. She listened carefully. She organized everyone. She created a new plan. Slowly, order returned. Hour after hour, the team followed her instructions. When the exercise ended, her group achieved one of the highest scores in the entire training program. Even the instructors were impressed. For the first time, the people who doubted her had nothing to say. After graduation, Sophia officially became an officer. Years of hard work had finally paid off. But her greatest test was still waiting. One day, her unit received an urgent assignment. The mission was important. The risks were serious. Sophia would be responsible for helping protect innocent lives during a dangerous operation. Some senior officers questioned whether she had enough experience. Others believed someone older should take command. Yet Sophia remained focused. She spent days studying every detail, every map, every report, every possible scenario. She knew lives could depend on the decisions she made. The night before the mission, she barely slept. Not because she was afraid, but because she wanted to be fully prepared. Deep down, she knew this mission could change her entire career, and she was determined not to fail. The operation began before dawn. Everything seemed normal at first. Then, unexpected problems appeared. Communication systems started failing. Weather conditions became worse. Several members of the team began losing confidence. The situation was becoming dangerous. At that moment, all eyes turned towards Sophia. This was the moment that would define her. Instead of giving in to fear, she stepped forward. She made quick decisions. She coordinated her team. She kept everyone focused despite the growing pressure. Hour after hour, she led with courage and confidence. Eventually, the operation was completed successfully. No lives were lost. The mission was considered a major success. News of her leadership began spreading throughout the military. The same type of people who once laughed at her dream were now hearing her name with respect. But Sophia knew her journey wasn't over. In fact, her biggest challenge was still ahead. After the successful operation, Sophia's name started spreading across military bases throughout the country. People who had never met her were now talking about the young officer from Texas who stayed calm under pressure and led her team through a difficult mission. But with recognition came new challenges. Not everyone was happy about her success. Some people claimed she had simply been lucky. Others believed she was receiving attention because she was different from most officers. Sophia ignored the noise. She understood something important. Success often attracts both admiration and criticism. Instead of focusing on what people were saying, she focused on becoming better every day. She trained harder than before. She studied leadership books late into the night. She learned from experienced officers. She constantly asked herself one question: how can I improve tomorrow? One afternoon, a senior commander called her into his office. Sophia expected another assignment. Instead, she received unexpected news. She had been selected for an advanced leadership program that only a small number of officers were invited to attend. For a moment, she couldn't believe it. Years ago, people laughed at her dream. Now, the military was investing in her future. As she left the office, Sophia looked up at the sky and smiled. Her journey was only beginning. The advanced program was tougher than anything Sophia had experienced before. The officers attending were among the best in the country. Many had years more experience than she did. At first, Sophia felt intimidated. She wondered whether she truly belonged there. During training exercises, she often found herself competing against officers who seemed smarter, stronger, and more experienced. For several weeks, she struggled. Some days, she made mistakes. Some days, she doubted herself. But then she remembered the lesson that had carried her through every challenge in life. Never compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Instead of feeling discouraged, Sophia focused on learning. She listened carefully. She asked questions. She studied every mistake. Slowly, her confidence returned. One instructor noticed her determination and told her something she would never forget. The best leaders aren't the ones who know everything. They're the ones who never stop learning. Those words changed Sophia's perspective. From that day forward, she stopped worrying about proving herself. She focused entirely on growth. And little by little, she started standing out among the best officers in the program. Several months later, Sophia's unit was called to assist during a major emergency situation. Families were frightened, communities were under pressure. People needed help immediately. Sophia and her team worked around the clock. There were long hours, very little sleep, constant challenges. Every decision mattered. One evening, after nearly 20 hours of work, Many members of the team were exhausted. Morale was dropping. People were frustrated. Sophia could see it in their faces. Instead of giving a speech, she rolled up her sleeves and worked beside them. She carried equipment. She helped organize supplies. She stayed until the last task was completed. Her actions inspired everyone around her. Soon, the team regained its energy. They continued moving forward together. When the emergency response ended, community leaders praised the team's efforts. But Sophia gave credit to everyone around her. She understood that great leaders don't seek glory. They help others succeed. That attitude earned her even more respect. And for the first time, Sophia truly felt she was becoming the leader she always wanted to be. One evening, after returning from duty, Sophia received a letter from her mother. Inside were several old photographs. One picture showed Sophia as a little girl standing in her backyard wearing a toy military uniform. Another showed her father smiling proudly beside her. As she looked through the pictures, memories flooded back. She remembered all the sacrifices her family had made, the difficult years, the struggles, the people who doubted her. Then she unfolded the letter. Her mother's words brought tears to her eyes. "I always knew you were stronger than you believed. Your father would be proud of the woman you've become." Sophia sat quietly for several minutes. Sometimes, even the strongest people need encouragement. That letter reminded her why she started this journey. It wasn't about medals. It wasn't about recognition. It was about honoring the values her family taught her. Courage, integrity, service. Those values would guide her through every challenge that still lay ahead. Months later, Sophia received news that would change her career forever. A highly important operation was being planned. Only the most trusted officers would be involved. The mission required leadership, intelligence, and courage. Sophia was selected as one of the key officers. The responsibility was enormous. For weeks, she prepared tirelessly. She reviewed plans repeatedly. She studied every possible scenario. She wanted to ensure her team was ready for anything. As the mission approached, the pressure became intense. Many people were watching. Senior commanders had high expectations. The media was paying attention. One mistake could damage years of hard work. But Sophia remained calm. She had spent her entire life preparing for difficult moments. The little girl who had once been laughed at was now standing among some of the most respected leaders in the country. And deep inside, she knew something important. The greatest challenges often appear right before the greatest victories. What Sophia didn't know was that this mission would soon place her in the most difficult situation she had ever faced. A situation that would test her courage, her leadership, and her character more than anything before. The operation began exactly as planned. Sophia and her team were confident. Months of preparation had gone into every detail. Everything seemed under control. Then, suddenly, unexpected problems appeared. Communication systems started failing. Important information arrived late. Several teams found themselves facing situations nobody had predicted. The operation was becoming more complicated by the minute. Sophia could see fear growing among some members of her team. People were looking for answers. People were looking for leadership. At that moment, Sophia understood that true leadership isn't tested when things go right. It's tested when everything goes wrong. Instead of panicking, she focused on solutions. She reorganized priorities. She coordinated with other units. She kept everyone calm. Hour after hour, she worked under extreme pressure. Many people would later say they had never seen someone remain so focused during such a difficult situation. But inside, Sophia felt the weight of every decision. She knew lives could be affected by her choices, and she refused to let fear control her. As night fell, the operation continued. Nobody knew what the next few hours would bring. As conditions became more difficult, Sophia faced a decision that could define her future. She had two options. One was safer. The other carried greater risk, but offered a much better chance of success. The room was filled with tension. Everyone waited for her decision. Sophia carefully reviewed every piece of information available. She listened to her team. She considered every possibility. Then, she made her choice. Some people immediately questioned it. Others worried she was taking too much responsibility. But Sophia trusted her preparation. She trusted her experience. Most importantly, she trusted her values. A leader must sometimes make difficult decisions, even when there are no perfect answers. The next several hours felt endless. Every update increased the pressure. Every new challenge tested her confidence. Yet she never backed down. She continued moving forward. And slowly, signs began appearing that her decision might be the right one. The people around her started realizing that Sophia saw possibilities where others saw obstacles. That ability would soon become critical. As the mission continued, something remarkable happened. The officers who once doubted her now followed her instructions without hesitation. The team had seen her determination. They had seen her courage. Most importantly, they had seen her consistency. She never asked others to do something she wouldn't do herself. She never blamed others when problems occurred. She accepted responsibility. She supported her team. She stayed calm. Those qualities earned trust. One exhausted team member later said something unforgettable. When everything felt impossible, Sophia gave us confidence. For Sophia, that meant more than any award. She had always believed leadership was about helping people become stronger together. Now she was seeing that belief come to life. The team wasn't succeeding because of one person. They were succeeding because they trusted one another. That trust became their greatest strength, and it would soon help them overcome their biggest challenge. After days of hard work, the operation finally reached its conclusion. The results exceeded expectations. Objectives were achieved. Communities were protected. The mission was considered a major success. Soon, news reports began talking about the operation. People across the country learned about the officers involved. Among the names receiving attention was Sophia Carter. The same young woman people once laughed at was now being recognized for her leadership. Interviews were requested. Articles were written. Social media filled with messages of support. Sophia appreciated the recognition, but she remained humble. She understood something important. Success should never change who you are. She remembered the difficult days. She remembered the criticism. She remembered the people who believed she would fail. Instead of feeling angry, she felt grateful. Those challenges had made her stronger. They had taught her resilience. And now, they were part of the story that inspired others. But Sophia still had one final lesson to learn. Months later, Sophia returned to the small Texas town where her journey began. The streets looked familiar. The houses looked familiar. The memories came flooding back. She remembered running before sunrise. She remembered hearing people laugh at her dream. She remembered every obstacle she had overcome. As she walked through town, people recognized her. Many stopped to congratulate her. Some of the same individuals who once doubted her now spoke with admiration. But Sophia wasn't interested in proving anyone wrong. She was interested in proving something else. That ordinary people can achieve extraordinary things when they refuse to quit. Later that evening, she visited her father's grave. She stood quietly for several moments. Then she smiled. The little girl with the impossible dream had become the woman she always hoped to be. Not because life was easy,
not because people believed in her, but because she never stopped believing in herself. And although her journey had already inspired thousands, an even bigger chapter of her story was still waiting to begin.
A few weeks after returning home, Sophia was invited to speak at a local school. At first, she wasn't sure what to say. She wasn't a celebrity. She wasn't a movie star. She was simply someone who refused to quit. After the event ended, a young girl approached her. The girl looked nervous. In a quiet voice, she said, "People laugh at my dreams too." Those words instantly reminded Sophia of her younger self. The girl explained how classmates mocked her ambitions and told her she would never succeed. Sophia listened carefully. Then she smiled. She told the girl something she wished someone had told her years ago. Never let other people's limits become your limits. The girl's eyes filled with hope. That moment touched Sophia deeply. She realized her greatest achievement wasn't the missions. It wasn't the recognition. It was inspiring someone else to believe in themselves. And from that day forward, Sophia made it her mission to help others find courage in difficult times. Months later, Sophia received an unexpected call that could change her future forever. The position carried enormous responsibility. It would place her among some of the most respected leaders in the country. For a moment, Sophia was speechless. Years ago, people laughed when she said she wanted to serve. Now, she was being trusted with one of the biggest opportunities of her career. The decision wasn't easy. Accepting the position would mean more pressure, more responsibility, more sacrifice. But Sophia knew growth often requires courage. After discussing it with her family, she accepted. News of the appointment spread quickly. People across the country celebrated her success. Many young women saw her achievement and realized that their own dreams were possible too. Sophia wasn't just leading teams anymore. She was becoming a symbol of perseverance. One evening, Sophia sat alone, looking through old photographs. Pictures from training, pictures with her family, pictures from difficult moments. As she reflected on her journey, one lesson stood above all others. Success isn't built in a single day. It's built through thousands of small decisions. The decision to keep going, the decision to work harder, the decision to believe when nobody else does. Sophia remembered every painful moment, every criticism, every setback. At the time, those experiences felt unfair. But now she understood something important. Those struggles weren't stopping her. They were preparing her. Without those difficult days, she would never have become the leader she was today. And for the first time, she felt grateful for every obstacle she had faced. One afternoon, Sophia walked down the same street where people used to laugh at her dreams. Everything looked different now, not because the town had changed, but because she had changed. Some of the people who once doubted her greeted her warmly. Others apologized for not believing in her. Sophia accepted their kindness. She held no grudges, because carrying anger only makes the journey heavier. As she continued walking, she passed the old park where she used to sit and think about her future. Back then, success felt impossible. Back then, she often felt alone. Now she stood there as proof that determination can transform a life. The little girl who once questioned herself had become a leader respected across the nation. And all because she chose not to quit. Before this story ends, there is one final message Sophia wants everyone to hear. If people laugh at your dreams, keep going. If people doubt your abilities, keep going. If life becomes difficult, keep going. Because the people who achieve extraordinary things are not always the strongest. They are often the ones who refuse to surrender. Sophia's story is not really about becoming a respected officer. It's about courage. It's about resilience. It's about believing in yourself when nobody else does. Years ago, people saw an ordinary young woman and laughed. Today, they see a leader, a role model, an inspiration. And the difference wasn't talent. The difference was persistence. Remember this. Your current situation is not your final destination. Your struggles do not define you. Your future is created by the choices you make every day. And just like Sophia Carter, you may one day achieve something people once thought was impossible. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you in the next story.